Hello everyone and welcome to our lesson on narrative writing. Today we are going to dive into the world of storytelling and learn how to craft your own amazing narratives. Writing stories is a great way to share your experiences, express your creativity, and connect with others. We'll start with a short story to get you inspired, and then I will guide you step by step through the process of brainstorming ideas, creating topic sentences, organizing paragraphs, and planning your writing. During the video, feel free to pause the video at any point to think about what we are discussing. Remember, the great thing about a video lesson is that you can learn at your own pace. Now, let me tell you a short story about Sindbad the Sailor, a famous adventurer known for his incredible journeys across the sea. Sindbad's stories are filled with mystery, excitement, and danger, making them perfect examples of memorable narratives. As you listen, pay attention to the characters, setting, and events in the story, as these are all important elements that make a great narrative. So let's find out what happened to Sindbad on one of his legendary adventures to the Valley of Diamonds. Long ago, there was a brave sailor named Sindbad who loved to explore distant lands and mysterious places. On one of his adventures, Sindbad and his crew members arrived at a beautiful island filled with tall mountains and lush green forests. But this was no ordinary island. It was the legendary Valley of Diamonds. The valley sparkled with thousands of glittering diamonds, but it was also dangerous. Enormous serpents, means snakes, guarded the diamonds, making it nearly impossible for anyone to collect the precious gems. Sindbad and his men had to devise a clever plan to escape the island and take some diamonds with them. Using his bravery and quick thinking, Sindbad found a way to outsmart the serpents and safely leave the island with some of the world's most beautiful treasures. So, why did I share the story of Sindbad the sailor with you? Well, this story is a great example of a narrative. What is narrative writing? Narrative writing tells a story about real or imagined experiences. It includes elements like characters, setting, events, a problem, and a solution. Now, in every great story, there are some key elements that makes it engaging and complete. Let's look at the four main elements using the story of Sindbad the Sailor as our example. The first one is the character. Who was the character in our story? Sindbad. The second element of a story is setting, means where the story took place. So where did the story of Sindbad the Sailor took place? In the Valley of Diamonds. Next element is a problem. What was the problem in the story? Getting past the serpents, the snakes. And finally, the last element of a story is a solution. And what was the solution? Escaping with the diamonds by planning to outpass the serpents. Just like Sinbad's legend, a good narrative includes characters, means people who are there in the story, a setting, a place where all the events happen, and a series of events, what all had happened in the story. If you combine all of them together, it becomes a narrative. Now that we know the key elements of a story, it's time to brainstorm ideas for our own narratives. Brainstorming is when we think of as many ideas as possible and write them down to help organize our thoughts before writing. Let's say our topic is a memorable day. We can start by thinking about different details like events, setting, activities, surprise, feelings, conclusion. Now, what do you write in events? The event of the memorable day is the birthday celebration at beach. Setting, a sunny day at Al Qurum Beach with family and friends. The activities you did, played beach volleyball, swam in the ocean, and built sandcastles. Surprise, your friends brought a cake and they sang a birthday song for you. How you felt? Felt happy and excited, and it was a day full of laughter and fun. And what's the conclusion? That you realized how special it is to spend time with loved ones and create memories. So, when you are brainstorming the topic of a memorable day, you can brainstorm it by drawing lines, write the title in the center, draw lines around it, and you can write what information you want to include. The characters are you and your family. The event is your birthday. The setting is the beach. The activities are playing volleyball, swimming in the ocean, building castles. And then the surprise element is your friends bringing the cake and singing a song for you. And then finally, how you felt about all these things. And in conclusion, how did you feel about the whole experience? When you combine all these together, it becomes a narrative. Now, let's move on to take a look at structure of a paragraph. When you are writing a paragraph narrating a story or an incident that has happened with you, you need to follow the structure. A well-structured paragraph should begin with a topic sentence. What you need to include here? We will relate it with the story we have just read about the Sindbad. What was the topic sentence? Long ago, there was a brave sailor named Sindbad. This is the topic sentence, telling about the character and the time it happened. Then you need to write the supporting details. What comes under the supporting details? The description of the island. How was the island where Sindbad and his crew landed? And the problem they faced there and what solution they found. All these things comes under the supporting details. And then there should be a concluding sentence. The concluding sentence is finally they left the island with some of the world's most beautiful treasures. If you structure your paragraph with a topic sentence, a supporting details, and a concluding sentence, it will be a well organized and a well structured paragraph. Now, let's take a look at some examples of topic sentences for narrative paragraphs. You can use any one of these in your narratives when you are writing about your memorable day or you are sharing any incident that has happened with you or a day you helped someone, a day you lost something. You can use any one of these topic sentences, or you can write your own topic sentence. Last summer, I had the most unforgettable adventure at the beach. So this is one of the, you are sharing one of your experiences at the beach. So you can start with last summer. Time, when did you go there, and what was the experience? As soon as I stepped into the old abandoned house, I knew something mysterious was about to happen. If you are talking about something dangerous or something mysterious that has happened with you, you can use this topic sentence. When I first moved to the city, everything felt new and overwhelming. This you can use when you are writing about your experience on the first day of college. You can say, when I first entered the university, everything felt new and overwhelming. The day I learned to ride a bike on my own was both exciting and terrifying. If you did something for the first time and you are narrating about it, this is the topic sentence you can use. It was a cold, rainy evening when I found the lost puppy outside my door. Now, this topic sentence you can use when you have helped someone. The moment I stepped onto the stage, I felt my heart racing and my palms sweating. If you are sharing an incident when you felt nervous for something, you can use this topic sentence. I will never forget the first time I flew on an airplane. If you are writing about an incident or a story about something you did for the first time, you can use this topic sentence. Growing up in a small village taught me many important lessons about life. This is another example. If you are sharing your childhood story or you are sharing anything that has happened with you in your hometown, you can use this as a topic sentence. Now let's take a look at what you need to include in supporting details. In the details of a narrative paragraph, you should include the following elements. Setting. Describe where and when the story takes place to give context to the people to understand where it happened. Characters. Mention the main characters involved in your story. If you are sharing the incident also, who were involved with you, who all were there in that incident. Include any relevant features or characteristics or emotions they experience. Then outline the sequence of events in the story. Write about the events. What happened first, then what happened, after that what happened, next what happened, and finally what happened. Emotions and reactions, how you felt during each event, you need to say first. When you stepped out of the house, it was dark, so you felt scared. So how you felt, your feelings and emotions should also be there along with the events. This adds depth and it helps the reader to connect with your narrative. Then, if you faced any problem during those events, you need to explain how you solved the problem. Like in the Sindbad the Sailor story, we have seen that they went to an island, they saw diamonds, they wanted to take it, but they couldn't because of the snakes. And how they solved this problem? They came up with a plan and they could take all the diamonds with them. So you need to write the solution also for the problem. So finally, we need a concluding sentence to wrap up the paragraph. Here are some examples. If you are sharing something that has happened with you and you can never forget it, you can use this as your concluding sentence. In the end, it was an experience I would never forget. If you are sharing something good that has happened with you, like your birthday celebration at the beach, you can say, after that day, I knew I would always cherish the memories we made. If you are talking about something you did for the first time and it was difficult, but you were successful in doing it, you can use this as your concluding sentence. Although it was a challenging moment, it taught me a valuable lesson about not giving up. And if you are talking about a time when you helped someone to do something, you can use this. As I walked away, I couldn't help but feel proud of what I had accomplished. Means you got something, or you helped someone, you can write this sentence at that time. That was the moment I realized how important it is to be kind to others. Yes, when you help someone, you can use this sentence also. With a smile on my face, I knew that everything had turned out just right. If you are talking about an incident that was bad, something bad happened with you, and but then at the end everything was okay, then you can use this sentence. Let's now move on to the next point, which is the grammar rule. When we write narratives, we usually use the past tense because we are telling a story about something that has already happened. And here are some important points to remember about using the past tense. Number one, use the simple past tense. When you are writing a narrative, it is very common to use a simple past tense to describe the events or the things that has happened with you or in the story. For example, she walked to the store. So for simple past tense, we add d, ed, or ied to the verbs to make them into a past tense. Second rule is to remember irregular verbs. Some verbs are irregular and change form in the past tense. You cannot add d, ed, or ied to them, but they change completely. For example, go becomes went, see becomes saw, take becomes took. These are irregular verbs. A list of verbs will be provided to you so that you can check them from time to time whenever you are using it. Using of past continuous tense. Sometimes the past continuous tense can also be used to set the scene or to describe an ongoing action in the past. In your story, there are events happening and there is an action happening in the past. So when it is ongoing, you can use simple past continuous tense to describe. Like, it was raining when I arrived. You're talking about a day when something happened with you, and that day it was raining. So to describe such scenes or incidences, you can, or ongoing actions, you can use the past continuous tense also. Make sure to use the correct past tense forms to make your narrative clear and accurate. Another thing to remember here is to use sequencing words for narratives. Sequencing words helps us organize the events in our stories and show the order in which they happen. Here are some common sequencing words you can use in your narratives. Using these will help make your narrative flow smoothly and make it easier for the reader to follow the story. And what are those words? At the beginning of the story, these are the words you can use. First, to start with, at the beginning, initially. In the middle of the story, you can use next, then, after that, meanwhile, as soon as. At the end of the story, when something at the climax or when the main event is happening, you can say suddenly, all of a sudden, at that moment, just then. And while ending your narrative, the last thing which is happening in the story, you can use the words finally, in the end, eventually, at last. And if you are showing a cause and effect, something has happened because of something, then you can use these words: because of this, as a result, therefore, consequently. Thank you for joining this lesson on narrative writing. I hope you learned a lot about how to brainstorm, structure your paragraphs, use the past tense, and organize events with sequencing words. Remember, writing is a skill that gets better with practice. Keep using these tips to create your own amazing stories. Good luck and happy writing.